Now then, here we go, maybe. Bruno Fernandes bid in from Al Hilal. Multiple sources talking about this. We're going to go through both stories from both journalists on what is happening with Al Hilal's bid for Bruno Fernandes. A monumentally huge bid is the best way I can describe that. The full details of what is being added up as a £300 million package to take Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United to Al Hilal. We're going to talk about all the other Manchester United news which is circulating as we always do on our show in the evening, but we cannot start anywhere else than Bruno Fernandes' potential exit from Manchester United. We've been waiting for it. We know that talks have been going on with representatives of Bruno Fernandes and Al Hilal. This has been reported continuously all week through Ben Jacobs. He has been one of the sources that has mentioned this and has broke the news just in the last hour. In fact, Bruno Fernandes to Al Hilal is a possibility pending Bruno's decision on whether or not he gives the green light to Al Hilal. We're going to get into this news now. We're going to go through it. We'll read the report that's come through from the Daily Mail first of all, which reads, Bruno Fernandes has been set a deadline of next week to decide if he wants to leave Manchester United and sign a £200 million deal with Al Hilal. The Saudi Arabian club want an answer by the end of May and are increasingly hopeful that Fernandes can be persuaded to walk away from Old Trafford. They are ready to offer Manchester United a transfer fee of £100 million if Fernandes accepts a 3-year contract worth a basic $700,000 a week and up to $65 million a season, including signing on fee and bonuses. That equates to approximately $200 million. The £100 million package making up the £300 million in total is the transfer that Al Hilal will offer Manchester United. And this is all based off Al Hilal talking to Bruno Fernandes first. I'll read on some more on this so you can be fully up to date with everything that is going on, then we'll get a few opinions on it. United sources have reiterated that they do not want to sell their captain and best player, but the club are under ever greater financial pressure after defeat to Tottenham in Wednesday's Europa League final cost them £100 million in Champions League revenue. Fernandes admitted after the game that he could be sold to balance books, saying if the club thinks it's time to part ways because they want to do some cashing in, it is what it is. They are in the Club World Cup, Al Hilal, and obviously they want to get a decision on this transfer or potential transfer of Bruno Fernandes ASAP so they can add him to their squad and register him as a player in time for the tournament. They're looking to make a significant statement going into this competition. It does look like the Saudis have actually funded the majority of this Club World Cup to actually be in the competition. Let's not forget FIFA are not taking any money from this competition, but it does look like money has exchanged hands already just for the Saudis to be in this competition. So they are the ones and the driving force behind this, and they want to make a significant signing and a bit of a statement going into this. And Al Hilal taking Bruno Fernandes from Manchester United for this type of money would be absolutely mind-blowing, and I think this is what they are trying to do. They are trying to wow factor the world by taking one of Europe's best players, by taking Manchester United's captain and best player over the last 5 years. Now it's time to decide what Manchester United are going to do. Or they are going to have to make a decision on what they do next, because this is substantial money and would cover a lot of the losses that Manchester United will receive now or will come into of not qualifying for the Champions League. This is massive news right now. And I think a £200 million package for Bruno Fernandes over 3 years, oh my God, that is ridiculous money. That's like buying a club at a decent level type of money. There are Premier League clubs that have been bought for less than what Bruno Fernandes will be paid as a player. Ronaldo's in the same boat over there as well. And obviously there are bigger players heading over to the Saudi Pro League now. Players in the prime of their careers, like Tony, like John Duran. Players like this heading over to the Pro League, knowing that, I mean, if you look at the Portuguese setup, for instance, Bruno Fernandes, he isn't going to be He isn't. It's not. He's not going to lose his international place because he's gone over to the Saudi Pro League. Like, he is still going to get his international call-ups and everything like that. Obviously, because we've seen it with Cristiano Ronaldo. João Neves also went over there from Wolves, didn't he? Started playing in the Saudi Pro League. This is substantial amounts of money that I think most Man United fans that we've discussed before. It's hard to turn down. For Bruno Fernandes to leave now from Manchester United on this money, you would have to say is absolutely stupid of Manchester United to ignore. That's how I look at it right now with the financial states. Like, they can say what they want. They can come out and say that Manchester United do not need to sell Bruno Fernandes. We don't want to sell Bruno Fernandes. They can say all of that and they can convince themselves that this is the right thing to do. But the reality tells you a completely different thing. And the debts and the problems that United are having right now would be completely cleared in one transfer. Then you look at the Bruno side of things. I'm just going to read on from what Ben Jacobs said. And this is off the back of what we just said there in terms of the approach to Bruno Fernandes. 700 grand a week, a package worth £65 million a year in wages for Bruno, which is more than he's earned at Manchester United in his whole career. Just in his time. That's what it will be per year in the Saudi Pro League. It's staggering. It's absolutely staggering money. Should Bruno Fernandes give the green light, Hilal will then make a formal approach to Manchester United in hope their lack of qualification for the Champions League after losing the Europa League final to Spurs will result in a softened stance. Something United insiders hint is wishful thinking. Gimme Sport understands Manchester United's position remains that they don't want to lose Fernandes, and this hasn't changed in the light of defeat in Bilbao. Insiders also deny the existence of a 60 million release clause despite suggestions from the Saudi media. Fernandes is contracted until 2027, with an option of a further year, so prizing him away it could require British transfer record fee. The 30-year-old said after the Europa League final that if United wanted to cash in, blah, 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 like we've just said then in terms of Bruno's stance on this, it is down to Manchester United. Bruno, I think, is open to this. I really do. I think he understands the club position, and if Bruno does go to Manchester United and says to them, I'm happy to move to the Saudi Pro League, I'm happy to make that move, I want to do something different, I think this is probably the Saudi Pro League's play on this. Try and get into Bruno with the money, knowing that he's not going to be playing in any decent competition next season with Manchester United. Nobody else around world football has offered anything for Bruno Fernandes that we know of. Fabrizio Romano has come out and said that the offers that Bruno has had over the last couple of years have all been from the Saudi Pro League. So nobody has come in for Bruno in Europe. He's not going to get the chance to play in any of the major competitions next season. This is the only offer on the table. And if Bruno wants to just take that money and go and live his life and play over in the Saudi Pro League, United, from what they've said, would obviously cash in and take it. Like, Ruben Amorim doesn't want Bruno Fernandes to leave Manchester United. Let's make that clear. He doesn't want Bruno gone. Simple as he's staying at Manchester United as long as Bruno's there. But we know as well as the next person that Ineos and this new Manchester United structure are working above Ruben Amorim. He hasn't got the final say on all transfers. He'll have a say and he'll have some input into this, but Ruben Amorim won't be the deal breaker. If Ruben wants him to stay, then Ineos will obviously consider that. But what Ineos will consider first is, well, Ruben, you failed with this group of players now and showed us that you cannot work with them. We discussed this morning, and I'm not trying to flip this over here either. Like, Ruben has obviously lost all of his grace period in what he's done this season. He hasn't got anything out of these players. They don't want to play for him, whichever way you look at it. Bad results on the pitch have left United in this position. Ruben knows what has to happen. He understands the structure. He understands the football business. He's alluded to this several times now already. So this, I think, is Manchester United now going to make a decision, a football structure decision. This is the first time that Manchester United and this new management team that's in place, that Ineos have put in place, are going to have to make a a real decision. This is their man that they've brought in Ruben Amorim. This is the man that they prized away from Sporting, saying it's a now or never that they want to back. So what happens if Ruben Amorim says, I have to keep Bruno Fernandes. He has to stay at Manchester United. What do? Knowing that they're financially drained, knowing that they're financially completely screwed with everything going on. Look, I'm not saying that we need to sell Bruno Fernandes this summer. We have got other players that could be heading out of the door easily. We've got plenty. We've discussed some today, and we will discuss some more in this show as well. And Manchester United are looking at, I think, they're looking at their summer with Bruno Fernandes still, which is why they're so solid in their stance on Bruno not leaving, and why we've got no reports on Manchester United's side saying that Bruno's leaving. Like, it's all hush and bang done. This is interesting because Ruben Amorim's press conference got moved from today to tomorrow. That it normally has it on a Friday, and he's now having it on a Saturday, which is strange on its own anyway. I'm not saying that's got anything to do with this deal at all, but a lot of things are moving around Manchester United right now that are not the norm. Obviously, we've had major job cuts today as well. The atmosphere around Old Trafford and Manchester United is not a happy place. There is a chance here that Ineos could save jobs possibly. There's a chance here that Ineos could actually salvage Manchester United's transfer window in terms of the financial side of it and sell their biggest asset. Is that proof that they are forward thinking, or is that proof that they're just looking to salvage what they have cocked up in a lot of fans' eyes? Which way would you look at that? There is the necessary and the obvious, but then if we sell Bruno Fernandes, who is loved by the fan base, yes, there is debate and there is obviously some issue with his performances and what he brings to the team. There is a few fans that don't like Bruno Fernandes. We know this already, but what there also is a massive core of Manchester United fans who understand what Bruno brings, and he is the heart and soul of this football club. And if you sell Bruno Fernandes, if there's any wind of Bruno saying yes, or Ineos selling Bruno Fernandes ahead of this Aston Villa game, and we're going into this game off the back of ticket prices going up, staff being cut, United's worst ever season, Ineos in bed with the Glazers, and then selling Bruno Fernandes on top of that, bang, that there is massive. That there is basically, I think that's pouring about 50 gallons of fuel onto a bonfire in the Manchester United fans' eyes. That's what that would be. That would enrage this fan base, the match-going fans in particular, because they're the ones that are right behind Bruno Fernandes. And I'm not saying that people at home watching the games are not behind Bruno Fernandes. The majority of this fan base is right behind him. But I think what we are looking at now and what we're seeing within this Manchester United fan base is a realisation of the situation that we're actually in. And the reality tells us that Bruno, right now, is somebody that could actually salvage a transfer window on his own for this football club. We haven't got the money necessary to buy the players we need. This would be absolutely everything for Manchester United in this transfer window. We could get every single deal that we wanted to get done with one transfer. That's how big this is. For anybody just joining us and wondering what the £300 million bid is for Bruno Fernandes, it is $200 million to Bruno Fernandes over 3 years as a contract and $100 million to Manchester United. That's how much Al Hilal are committing to making Bruno Fernandes their player. That's come from the Daily Mail and Ben Jacobs. Now, I've said this before. With Ben Jacobs, he is the Saudi Pro League expert, and he knows everything that's going on. So if he says that this deal is on the table, it is genuine. So now, I feel, as a Man United fan base and looking in on this, everybody's watching to see what Manchester United do next and where we go with this. Have we actually got a football structure in place that is going to take advantage of a situation of a 30-year-old who is going to be leaving the club in 2 years anyway, salvaging our worst moment in the club's history financially and giving us something back and being able to repair serious damage? And if Ruben Amorim wants to get rid of most of this squad, then selling Bruno Fernandes, who I think is exactly what Ruben needs, by the way, and I said this before, he doesn't want to sell him, but if he sells Bruno Fernandes, this gives him the room to then go out and sell other players and bring in what he needs. That's the difference. Is Ruben going to jump onto that? Is Ruben going to be the manager that is different, that isn't going to look at Bruno Fernandes as a saviour and that one-trick pony who salvages, not a one-trick pony, but as that one trick who always comes up trumps and salvages something for United? Because Bruno, without him this season, Manchester United are in the relegation zone. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. I look at this now, and whichever way you do look at this, whichever way that Manchester United go with it, I think you're going to have people that are on board with it if he stays. There'll be people that are looking at this and going, are you stupid? Are you actually off your heads that you're not accepting £100 million for a 30-year-old? And this is what this is going to divide this fan base again. There is a massive, massive decision that needs to be made by Manchester United, which is going to blow this whole transfer window completely open. And that is it. That is what we're looking at right now. I would say Bruno Fernandes leaving would be the biggest transfer news in this club's history. Like even bringing back Cristiano Ronaldo, this is bigger. This is massive in the circumstances as what it is right now. I look at this and I say, right now, the biggest in the club's history. It has to be. Like selling Ronaldo possibly is in line with it. Because Manchester United at the time were winning. Manchester United, when we sold Ronaldo, were in a decent place. Now we're on our arses and we could be selling our captain and our best player out of a needs-must situation. That is what we're dealing with right now, I think, and that's why it's bigger. Because this could salvage Manchester United's summer transfer window. This could actually give Manchester United the funds to really, really progress going forward and actually give Ruben Amorim the tools he needs to do what he wants to do. So is that 300 million straight up or instalments? 300 million, I think I just did describe it then, Welshman Forever. The 300 package is Bruno Fernandes' wages and contract offer and obviously the transfer fee. Now, if Bruno agrees to 200 million over 3 seasons, and Al Hilal will then go to Manchester United and offer approximately 100 million in transfer fee. Now, there is talk that might even be more. Ben Jacobs says they're going to have to break or be near to breaking the British transfer record for Manchester United to even consider a bid. I reckon tomorrow in the press conference, it's the first question that comes out the journalists' mouths on Bruno Fernandes. And Ruben Amorim is going to be put right on the spot again. I do believe that this actually... I think United knew about this today. I think the stories have gone around about this today. And look, I can be completely wrong, but why have United gone with a press conference on a Saturday instead of a Friday? I think there's so much news going on. I think United have just needed to plan an attack and a response in terms of what questions are coming their way, because there are some hard questions coming Ruben's way tomorrow. His last press conference of what has been an absolute disaster time for him at the football club. And I think he's just readying himself. I do. J-Ball TV says he is our Coutinho. Love, Shaw, Mount, Anana, gone. Love, Shaw, Mount, Anana, gone. Who's Love? I didn't know we had a player called Love, mate. Thanks for the super chat, though, buddy. Really appreciate that. Anyone else drop super chats in? In terms of everything else from what is actually going on right now, I'm going to come to the comments section first of all and get your thoughts on Bruno Fernandes before we move on, because we do have a lot of updates on other news as well, which we were going to be doing for the majority of this show, but it does look like Bruno is going to take Bruno's going to take the limelight. He really is. And yeah, what we are looking at here is, I think, the do or die situation for Manchester United summer. Some people would look at it that way, I think. Let's get some comments in on this one as well. Bruno is getting old, but we have Sancho, Rashford and Antony to sell. It's got nothing to do with that. This has just been absolutely thrust upon us, mate. So you can look at Sancho, Antony and Rashford. They're still going to get done this summer. And this is what Manchester United's plan is. But when something happens like this, everything stops and you have to take a rain check and concentrate on one certain thing. And I think this is what's happening with Manchester United right now. I think they've been taken aback because they know what money's involved here. And you have got businessmen involved right now that have lost a lot of money. Like Sir Jim Radcliffe bought shares off the Glazers at £33 a share. They're now down to approximately £13 a share. This is the demise of our football club right now. And the ownership that's in there with it is actually having to look into the desperation side of things, I feel, in this. And I do believe that there is now probably a conversation going on at Manchester United around Bruno Fernandes and whether or not they need to accept this bid. I do think it's happening. Let's just see now, Bruno. Looking at Coutinho money here, it says Gavin again. That's it. Selling Cristiano Ronaldo 16 years ago for 80 million versus selling Bruno now for only 100 million is laughable. No, Stephanie, I didn't mean it like that. I get what you're saying. Yes, I know them, but look at the situation we're in now. That's where I'm comparing it. I get what you're saying. No, Ronaldo then, like, what would that be now? I know what you're saying in terms of inflation and how much that would be. But what you're looking at now is this could be a transfer which saves Manchester United, or it could be one that destroys Manchester United. That's where we're at. United was safe back then. United didn't have anything to worry about financially. They were fine. Money in the bank from Ronaldo, still challenging for titles and still winning titles after Ronaldo left the football club, as we know. So this, I feel, is even more significant for Manchester United because it is and could be as important as any transfer in our history, of all the transfers put together. Like Cristiano Ronaldo coming back to Manchester United, that was big. Everyone was getting excited about that. This is completely the opposite end of the scale in terms of Bruno leaving, but I think is so important right now, because if we don't take this money and Manchester United don't improve next season and we struggle in the transfer window, you can see exactly what people are actually going to say, can't you? You can already read the comments that are going to pile in on this and say, why didn't we take that money for Bruno Fernandes? Why are we so stupid as to not accept that money? Because as soon as Bruno has a bad game, should have sold him for 100 million, should have sold him in the summer, what are we thinking? You know what's going to come. The outcry will come, the pressure will come on Ruben Amorim. That's what will happen, because he will be seen as the one that wants to keep Ruben Amorim. Sorry, wants to keep Bruno Fernandes. And the pressure will mount on Ruben Amorim's head because of it. And you know it will. You know I'm not just making that up or just trying to make a headline out of it. Everybody right now is ready to judge Ruben Amorim. And he's about to come out tomorrow in a press conference, I'm telling you now, and he's going to say that Bruno Fernandes is a massive important player for us and we want to build a team around him. He said it before. He's going to say exactly the same thing again. And Manchester United are going to end up keeping Bruno Fernandes. Still, in my opinion, I think Ruben really, really wants to keep hold of him. But you cannot help but think what Bruno Fernandes said in that interview after the game against Spurs sounded a bit fishy. Sounded a bit not right, didn't it? It, to me, looked like Bruno Fernandes was kind of offering a way out of United. Like, he understands the club position. If United want to make a deal and sell me, that's fine. I understand it. United losing 100 million through not winning that game is exactly the time you'd expect someone to come out and say something like that if they were thinking that something was in the offing. Look, Bruno Fernandes should have shut this down when we were talking this week if he didn't think that this was going to happen. Why did we allow more talks to go on? Bruno would have just shut it down if he wasn't moving from Man United, wouldn't he? And that's what I said at the time. Why are we at the end of the week now when before we started this week we knew of a bid going in? The video's on the channel here. A bid in, massive offer for Bruno Fernandes. It was over a week ago. And now we're looking further down the line. Why are we still talking? If we're still talking, then Bruno is obviously half interested in this move. And if Bruno is even thinking about it, then I think that is all the incentive Manchester United need to just say, right, thank you, legend, he is. Let's see if we can spend this money and rebuild this squad. I love Bruno Fernandes, as everybody knows on this channel. I don't want him to go. I think that he is a player that can obviously make Manchester United better next season. Without him, I think we're worse. I really do. But I understand Bruno is 30. I understand Bruno is gone in 2 years anyway, and we're going to get nothing for him. And I understand that 100 million is a full rebuild of Manchester United's squad with everything else that we're looking to sell this summer, along with the money that we've already got available. United could spend upwards of 300 million completely rebuilding our first team if we sold Bruno Fernandes. Literally, if you sold Bruno and you sold Garnacho, Manchester United right there, it could fund both 10s, a 9 and a number 8, which would transform the spine of this side instantly. You would have money to go out and buy another goalkeeper, not even having to sell Andre Onana. Keep him as a number 2 if you want, and leave him sat on the bench if you love him that much and he's such a nice guy around Carrington and everyone loves him. Keep him there. That's what this transfer offers. This transfer gives Manchester United an absolute way out of this absolute catastrophe of a season that we didn't expect to happen. That's what this gives us. Super chat in from Ross, thank you very much, mate. Says, how much of Bruno's money goes back into the team and not into the owner's pockets? I expect Cunha to step into Bruno's role, but no Champions League means no Edison at number 8. Do we have a plan there yet? Well, that, I think, is where money can actually offer us a way out as well. Now, I don't think Manchester United are going to go and overspend just because the money's there. I don't think it's going to be a case of United going out and spending more on another player. Let's say, for instance, Man United were desperate to get out of Joe Bellingham. That isn't going to be, let's go and spend 50 million on him. United won't do that with this structure. They won't overpay. But there will be other options that Manchester United can go for. Here's what. Would you be okay if Manchester United sold Bruno Fernandes, paid for a new number 9, a new number 10, and then we went and bought Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace for 60, 70 million. Would this fan base be okay with that? Would that be a step forward for Manchester United? That would be looking towards the future in fixing a big, big problem with Manchester United's midfield. And United, if they wanted to, could go and spend big money on Adam Wharton in midfield and make this happen. And that would be Man United's number 8 role fixed for, 10 years? Off the age of what Adam Wharton is. Now, a lot of people don't agree that much should be spent on Adam Wharton. I'm probably one of them people. But what it does give you is an option to go and test the water. Can United use Bruno Fernandes' money in instalments to go out and buy 4 players this summer alone? Yes, they can. Because we know, listening to financial experts, football finance experts, Manchester United, if they wanted to go out and spend 100 million on a player and offer that player 200 grand a week wages, that package in PSR, not financial fair play, because United don't have to abide by them rules now because we're out of UEFA competitions. It's just PSR. So if you're going down the PSR road, Manchester United would cost them 20 million a year to buy a 100 million pound player and pay him 200 grand a week wages. Now, you drop off the 100 million price, maybe you pay him a bit more wages, whichever way you work it, just use that as a guide. That's how much Manchester United will have to pay for a substantial transfer, as in a very good transfer. That's what United will have to do. This money will definitely go straight back into rebuilding Manchester United's team. It has to do. It really does. In terms of everything else that is going on right now, there is an acceptance at Manchester United that Casemiro will stay for the remaining year of his contract following unsuccessful attempts to find a buyer. Obviously not having to pay Casemiro that massive sum of money now next year because we didn't qualify for the Champions League. That's an update on his side of things. Neom's management have halted negotiations with Andre Onana and are waiting for a better goalkeeper options in the market this summer. So Andre Onana's option to go to the Saudi Pro League has pretty much ended because he's shit. That's all I can take away from that little headline there. He is crap and they don't want him. That's all I'm taking away from that. They're waiting for a better option. But United still paid 47 million for that clown. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It really is. Right, let's get some more comments in on this one. Let's open this up. Like, Bruno Fernandes, come on. Let's be real with this now. 300 million will include Bruno's wages over 4 or 5 year contract. It's 3-year contract, Goldstone, that's what it is. Transfer fee, probably around 100 million. It's 100 million. and 200 million wages to Bruno Fernandes over a 3-year deal. That's what it is. 65 million with bonuses a season, just under 200. So rounding it to 200 really on that one. Sorry about making the mistakes over and over. I have a problem with he's a horrible coach. Talking about Ruben. He's 31. Get the money for Bruno and many more. Rebuild from the ground up. To give you that option. Still don't get why people are saying we need 2 new 10s, but say Bruno if we need 2 number 10s that position, then say play him 8. We also sorry mate, there's a few mix-ups in there in terms of typos and that. If he can't play 10, sell him 100 million or not. Look, I don't think it even comes into the equation as to what position Bruno plays next season. This is 100 million and near 20 million a year in wages off your books. 100 million in your bank, pure profit. 20 million near enough in wages off the books a year. Manchester United at 30 going on 31. It doesn't matter where Bruno plays, Carl. It doesn't matter if he's in goal, plays multiple positions, wherever on the pitch. This sort of money talks, and this money is hard to turn down. It really is. I don't think United can afford to turn it down. I honestly don't. And if they do turn it down and Bruno stays, I fear for the comment sections on videos to come next season. Bruno will have many a good games, but I know as soon as a bad one comes along, the knives, oh my God, the knives will be out for him. And the knives will be out for Ineos and will be out for Ruben Amorim, because I feel it will be him that's the one that says no. He will veto this. It will be a no from Ruben Amorim. I don't think he wants to sell him. And maybe he's wet behind the ears. He's a new coach. He's not used to working at a big club. He's definitely not sat through or dealt with a situation that we've got now at Manchester United. That's 100% certain. He's not had to deal with this sort of thing before. So yeah, I don't know if an inexperienced coach right now is probably not right to be dealing with this situation. This Munters at the top could spend 400 million. This means that the top he could spend 400 million. We would end up effing it up the wall, man. Amorim out, says Boxing Straight Talk. Adam, yes, but Bruno leaving, does that mean Maguire captain again? No, I don't think so. I think Maguire 1 year left. I wouldn't say that. I think it'll be someone. I think Casemiro takes the captaincy ahead of Harry Maguire if he's still here. I think Matthias de Ligt should do it because he's one for the future. There's no way that they should give it to Harry Maguire if he leaves. It's not a conversation really that we need to be worrying about just yet, to be honest. I think actually accepting the bid for Bruno Fernandes or not is the hot topic right now more than anything. Really. Keep your comments coming in, everybody. Super chat from Muriki. I think that's how you say it. Sorry if I said that wrong. Sell Bruno, build around Cunha and Yoro. And Ahmad as well. Don't forget our little Ahmad. Thank you, everybody who has liked the video. Please do pop a like on the video if you are loving the content. This one just came out of the bag. Out of the blue today on us. And Bruno Fernandes bid in, or an apparent bid coming in off the back of Bruno saying yes or no to 200 million over 3 years. Ouch, is all you can say. Adam, I told you that sacrifice is needed to get these owners out. I gave up my season tickets a couple of years ago because I hate these owners. Don't complain if you take no action to get them out. I've got no idea what you're talking about, Sean, with that one there, mate. You leaving is not going to stop them doing what they're doing, mate. I've said this before. You leaving basically gives them the opportunity to charge somebody else more money for your ticket. Hence, you really have give them more money. That's how I look at it, mate. And I know, because if I gave my ticket up, it would be sold to somebody else that is going to spend a fortune on it. Therefore, me leaving makes them more money. That's got nothing to do. And what am I complaining about? I'm not. I'm just talking about a decision that needs to be made by Manchester United overselling our captain. Imagine selling Bruno and still not being able to shift Rashford, Sancho and Antony, just loaning them out again. Look, if we loan Antony, Rashford and Sancho out this summer, I think they'll end up playing at Manchester United again. That's just what I'm saying, because I fear for Ruben Amorim. I'm not confident at all. The fan base are ready to absolutely bury him, and that's proven in the comments that are coming through today. The pressure is on him. For instance, Sir Jim Radcliffe and Ineos have said apparently today that Manchester United are looking at sixth place minimum next season. Well, if you want Ruben Amorim to get sixth in the league next season, then Ruben Amorim needs money to spend in the summer and change his team to get that next season. That's what I think, because if we do only end up loading Rashford, I think he'll end up playing for United again. He's just waiting to see another manager off. And I said this morning, Ruben needs to stay. And it doesn't sound right, because it doesn't sound like it's football related. Ruben needs to stay so we can get rid of all of these headache players. And then if it doesn't work out for him, then at least someone else doesn't have to come through and deal with these cretins, these absolute leeches that are playing at our football club anymore. That's what I'm making. That's what I make of it anyway. Lawrence says Mbappe will come for $1 million a week. Bruno sale covers most of the season. How many players want to come to United if they lose so many players with the uncertainty? Well, what you could say is that Manchester United are making room for the next generation of players to come through. Let's be honest. Would you rather keep these players off that, David? The same players that have got Manchester United 16th or 17th in the league with no trophy? Do you think it's right to keep them players? I don't think so. I don't. As long as the Glazers are still running the club, the chance is we'll sign, we'll still get Delap and pockets the rest and use the money to buy a baseball team. Well, not really, because Ineos are running Manchester United right now. So that won't happen. I got to stop reading chat. Sorry to the people who talk sense. Can't bear to read all the nonsense here today. Wow, keep up the good work, Adam. Markash. Look, this is what this does. I said this would happen. There's going to be a divide amongst this fan base. There really is. Try and keep it civil within the chat, please, everybody. Everyone's got an opinion. We don't like to delete people off the channel unless it's necessary for abuse. People don't like Ruben Amorim. They think he's going to fail. I can see why you would think that. I could see why you don't want to give him money to spend this summer. I look at it in a few different ways. It's just my opinion, and I'm just the one reading the news to you all. And hopefully you like me reading the news to you as well, and that's why you subscribe to the channel. If you're not already, please do. Thumbs up, like it, and subscribe. And yeah, please get involved in the chat as well. It's football debate. This is going to divide so many people. Like, already, we know we're at the end of our tether. We know that this club is on the edge. It's hanging on by its nails right now, this football club. And certain big decisions are going to come our way over the next 2 years that are going to make fans think twice about what is going on at this club. That's it. That is going to happen. You have to accept that. And Bruno Fernandes is one of them calls right now that people are going to have to get their head around and make a decision whether they think it's right or if it's wrong. You're not going to know. You're not going to know. I heard a piece from Gary Neville earlier on saying that Ruben Amorim right now is wishing he said no to the Manchester United job mid-season. That's all he's thinking. You're never going to know what happens after the decision has been made. Manchester United have to look at the odds, look at the options, look where the club is at. And if this funds a full rebuild for the rest of Ruben Amorim's time at the club as a minimum, then this is something that definitely needs to happen at Manchester United. It does. They need to give us an extra 30 million for putting Bruno off by turning his head. Played crap in the last 3 games. As if that would ever happen. I know what you mean, no. He did have a shocker, didn't he? Lauren says, I deserve to be called your favourite Liverpool fan. I've been here since the Talk Sport face. Yeah, Lonan, you are. You're a happy Liverpool fan. We got some happy news for Liverpool fans coming up on Football Talks in a little bit as well regarding Florian Wirtz. Man, I wish I was in their situation right now rather than this one with Manchester United. Debating whether to get rid of our best player for 100 million or not to salvage what has been an absolutely shocker of a season. Crazy. Just to go over the news again, if you have just joined us, plenty of people are just tuning in late on this one. I'll just read through the exact bit of news which has come out, and this has come out from several sources, including Ben Jacobs, Saudi Pro League expert. Bruno Fernandes has been set a deadline of next week to decide if he wants to leave Manchester United and sign a £200 million deal with Al Hilal. The Saudi Arabian club want an answer by the end of May and are increasingly hopeful that Bruno Fernandes can be persuaded to walk away from Old Trafford. They are ready to offer Manchester United a transfer fee of around £100 million if Fernandes accepts a 3-year contract worth a basic, get this, basic $700,000 a week and end up and that could end up adding up to £65 million a season, including signing on fee and bonuses. That is real, ladies and gentlemen. That is genuine, and that is the news circulating right now, which Manchester United are having to make some serious decisions over. And that is, do you accept that massive amount of money? Let's not forget, if Bruno Fernandes is not here, and you don't have to pay out the rest of his contract, that's a minimum over the next 2 seasons of approximately 40 million in wages for Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United not to pay. That's 100 million, 100% pure profit into Manchester United's bank account. Also, if United were clever, what's the right decision? That's what we're debating right now. And this is a tough one. This is a very, very tough one. Because I can see a lot of people are looking past the Bruno Fernandes transfer, not looking at keeping him, but like scared about what might happen if Ruben Amorim is actually given the money to spend as well. This is how far it's gone this season, and this is what is pushing people right now. You got people looking at the Bruno Fernandes transfer and say we can't lose our best player. But then again, we got to accept 100 million. And then there's other fans past both of them situations saying, well, I still don't trust Ruben Amorim. I don't think he's a good enough manager. And it doesn't matter if we sell Bruno Fernandes or not. We're going to end up pissing all of this money up the wall. And that is where we're at. Unfortunately, we are in a shithole right now, Manchester United. And I think the fans are suffering with it. We really are. And I can feel that. I can feel it. If there is a guarantee that 300 million will be used to get Amorim all the players, it's not 300 million, mate. Just again, I did just explain it there. 100 million is going to United. The other 200 million is in wages to Bruno. That's what Al Hilal are willing to pay. That's the headline. Al Hilal make massive 300 million Bruno Fernandes transfer bid. For them, they're spending 300 million. For United, we're getting 100 million. Believe it or not, 2/3 of that 300 million is going into Bruno Fernandes' skyrocket. That's the craziness. That's what they're doing, and that's the lengths that they're going to get Bruno in. So their priority is 2/3 of this 300 million pound package is to convince Bruno, so they can then go to Manchester United and say, Bruno's happy to come. There's 100 million. Whether or not United say, give me more. We want a British transfer record. We want possibly over 120 million for Bruno Fernandes, and then we'll consider it, and you can take Bruno Fernandes. If Bruno tells Manchester United that he's happy to go, if they want to let him go, I think this deal can happen. And I'll say this again one more time, I just don't see Bruno saying that, and I don't think Ruben will. I don't think Ruben's going to... I think he'll veto it. I think he will. I think he'll just say no. Personally, from what he said before, I know circumstances have changed. Will Ruben have changed his mind after losing out the Europa League and not being in the Champions League and losing out on £100 million worth of prize money from the Champions League? I don't know. Maybe conversations have been had this week. Like, Ruben, we need you to finish 6th next season. Can you do that with Bruno Fernandes? That's probably something that's going through his head right now. And will you be able to do that if Bruno Fernandes is there and we don't spend too much money on other players around? Like, maybe we bring in 3 players. No, it's not going to be enough to get United 6. Manchester United, I think, if we do business, don't sell Bruno Fernandes, we bring in maybe 4 players, we could be on the cusp of making top 6, but it's going to be touch and go. I think if Bruno Fernandes leaves, Manchester United then have the room to really go and invest in a few different areas in this team that can make a real difference with that budget. And I think that's where we're at with it. I do. I think we have the most frustrating fan base in the world. Blind backing managers. Everyone's got an opinion, mate. I back Ruben Amorim. I want to give him time. I do. I've said that before. I don't think it's blind faith. I just want to see what this man can do with players that actually understand what he wants them to do, or I can get something out of these players. For this current Manchester United squad to give up on a manager tells me that the players have got the issue, not the coach. Ruben's system has worked elsewhere with other players. Why are our players not accepting this? Why are our players the ones that are the issue? I just want to see, I want to give him a chance to see through at least next season if he can, and see where we're at and judge him off his players. That's where I'm at. I'm fully behind that, and I always have been. But you've all heard me say that if if Ruben Amorim gets off to a shocker next season, and say for instance he's nowhere near the top 6 after 10 games, I think he will be sacked. I do. And this is why I wanted, and why I've always said, I want the structure to take control over the transfer window. Because they need to now have a basis of what they want to do through the transfer windows. They have to have that line going through every single summer, and this is what needs to happen. A manager needs to come in and use what he has got in line with the players that Manchester United are bringing in. That's it. Ruben will have that little bit of a say in terms of what players come in, but the majority of the say has to be how Man United's hierarchy wants to run this club. And the manager has to fit in line with a certain part of that. Yes, we want to bring in players that will work in the Ruben system, and the structure will go out and find them calibre and profile of players, but it isn't going to all be Ruben's say. That's what Manchester United need to run like from now on. That's how football clubs should run. That's how all the big clubs run. Again, thank you for all the likes, everybody. Make sure you do pop a like on the video, and make sure that you do actually subscribe to the channel also. Let's see what else we've got here in the comment section. Nicholas says, I can tell you really when I lost faith in Ruben, when he started short in fucking final. That's so stupid. I cannot really understand that it really happened. His other option was Lindelof or Heaven. What would we have said if Heaven made a mistake? Why are you playing a player that's so young, that's got no experience, in a final that's just come back from injury? Why are we playing Victor Lindelof, who's been a failure at this football club for years? Similar to Luke Shaw. We were struggling for physicality in that game. I think that's why we even picked him. Look, I don't want to go back and say he should have done this, he should have done that. It's all here, there. He said, she said, and hindsight's a wonderful thing. But like, the final's gone. We have to deal with the now. And Ruben will probably look back on the season and say he's made mistakes. Is it going to be a mistake keeping Bruno Fernandes? That's the big one that we're going to leave you with tonight anyway. Everybody, thank you so much for being part of the show. That was a whirlwind show. Didn't expect that news to come out tonight, but it is there. And United have a decision to make on Bruno Fernandes. It is as simple as that. Do we cash in or do we hold out and hope that Bruno can, again, I don't know what you expected him to do. Turn up in the odd game and score a worldie of a goal. I think the common sense tells you that United should cash in if the bid is genuine and real. And if it is 100 million plus, you have to take that money and rebuild Manchester United. We're at that stage now where we need to make these cutthroat decisions. It's as simple as that. Mods in the chat, thank you very much, everyone, for all of your comments. Absolute blinder again tonight, everyone. Thank you, everyone who has participated. All the super chats, like I said before, please give the video a like on the way out. Make sure that you hit that subscribe button also. And I'll see you all in the morning, 8 o'clock, unless something else breaks tonight. Good God, I can't get away from my desk at the moment with everything going on. But I've got you covered no matter what. I'll see you all in the morning. Have a great evening, everybody. Enjoy your first night of the bank holiday weekend if you're here in England. And